What I feel is that actually land degradation in non-arid areas is worse, including in our own country, and that we haven't got the consciousness. And the risks on high food prices, lack of food, as population grows, it affects climate change, biodiversity loss, energy consequences. It's an enormous issue that really matters to all of us. It's about degrading the kind of resources of the earth for future generations, and most of the northern countries aren't interested and aren't here. So Africa is holding it and is the wake-up call, and is, I think under Luke, the work that's gone on has really deepened and understood the nature of the problem. So we've got a way to go, but I think this convention and its secretariat have really done a very important job, but there's lots more to do to get the non-desert countries to understand that they're part of the problem too.
In terms of moving the issue forward, there's been a lot of discussion here about having perhaps a treaty in 2015 on zero net land degradation. From a political point of view, do you feel that targets like that help more than, I don't know, perhaps our understanding of issues? Is it easy to pinpoint, what's more effective in that sense?
I mean, obviously there has to be the local work and the learning and the scaling up, and there's a lot of that has gone on through the networks created under this convention, but still we're losing, land is being degraded, and we're losing more and more as the years go by, despite all this good work. Now, the issue is whether the Millennium Development Goals, which was set in 2000 to mark the new millennium and try to mobilise the whole world to take systematically reducing poverty seriously, and I think whatever the defects, it did generate real focus on bringing the whole international system together, the UN system, the World Bank, the regional development banks, the development agencies, the nation states sort of vying to not be bottom of the pile. And so lots of kids went to school who wouldn't have, etc., etc. More focus on systematic, measurable reduction of poverty. We're now negotiating what to replace them with. And the world is, the world system. And people are talking about sustainable development goals, quite rightly. That broadening should take place, and land degradation must be in there in one way or another, either as a goal in itself or under the targets for getting rid of hunger, looking after water, etc., etc. And I believe if it's in there in the kind of top level targets that the world system signs up to, it will drive more implementation of the lessons that have been learned, that have been discussed at this conference. So I think targets well used, and if everyone unites in meaning it, and then the World Bank wants to show it's good at it, and the UN system wants to show it's good at it, and countries don't want to be left out, and you get just mobilisation of more energy and focus.
And in a sense, your political career spanned the Millennium Development Goals. Do you feel, and they've come under a lot of criticism from people as being ineffective, do you feel that they have actually, achieved what they set out to?
Well, a lot of people like to carp. In fact, progress in reducing poverty, reducing infant mortality, increased life expectancy, speeded up massively under the focus of the Millennium Development Goals. They haven't been 100% success, of course. I mean, the target was to halve the proportion of people in extreme poverty, because totally eliminating the first step wasn't possible. But I think they've achieved a lot, and I think people who see that they had deficiencies, need to be added to, can be improved, that's right. But this sort of carping, nasty way that everyone goes on as though everything's rubbish, and it doesn't help.
And in terms of this convention, how do you see it faring in the next couple of years? Because clearly the Executive Secretary, I've spoken to him a few times in the past few weeks, and he comes across as quite a frustrated man at the end of his tenureship, that not enough perhaps political momentum has been achieved. How do you see that perhaps changing in the next few years? Can you see a way forward in terms of real political engagement?
I think, it's right that Luke is frustrated, but he really has achieved a lot in sharpening up what the aims are, what the science is, how people can collaborate and so on. But of course it's not enough if we're still losing, land is being degraded in ever greater quantities. I think the next big step is to get some targets in the new international targets that replace the Millennium Development Goals. And we're on the way to that. And I think if that is done, it will shift right up the political agenda. There'll still be loads of work to do, but there'll be a lot of focus. It'll be included in the top focus. Because, of course, reducing poverty means increasing people's income. But you can look at that in why don't we industrialise everything and, you know, get lots of investment in manufacturing or whatever and leave out the ecology of the world. Or you can be wiser and include all the resources that humanity needs to sustainably reduce.